What does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong about it.
You're trying to turn this.
You've been wrong about it.
No, you're trying to.
Trump acting like a boss with a recent hostile interviewer. I'm here for it. Welcome back to the JP Rex channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend. This is where we like to call out the lies, hypocrisy, and corruption of tyrants and Satan, shine the light of awareness on woke absurdities, and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters. President Donald J. Trump certainly qualifies as a freedom fighter. He did an interview on stage with Bloomberg, not a friendly publication for him, and man, he handled this journalist just like a boss. I mean, Trump was in control. He was speaking from a place of merit and achievement, and the crowd that was against him ended up being for him in the end. You'll see that. But setting the stage, most current polling from Polymarket, you can't trust all polls, but this one seems to be a little bit more genuine than a lot of the others. I wonder, CNN polls, are they accurate? I'm sure they're accurate. None of their news is accurate, but I'm sure their polls are accurate. But nonetheless, Polymarket, as of today, has President Trump up just by a bit of a landslide, leading in the polls, 58.1% to Kamala's 41.9%. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't identify as arithmetic, that is a 12.2% lead, which is pretty damn drastic for a presidential election. I'm here for it. Now, before we take a look at some of the clips of Trump manhandling this interviewer like a tiger batting around a baby squirrel, Colin Rugg posts this, and this is the context. The interviewer, to his credit, this Bloomberg guy, came out on stage first to say this. You'll hear the audio and video just a second, but here's the snapshot. Bloomberg's editor-in-chief says they reached out to Kamala Harris to do an interview about her economic policies, but she declined. I wonder why. She doesn't have any, or they're just communism. She appears to not have any because she wants to withhold and hide what she really wants to do. It's just communism. Equal outcomes, everybody. Everybody is equally devastated in this economy. The development comes as Harris's fitness for office continues to come into question. Bro, it's beyond question at this point. The announcement at the event came before Donald Trump sat down and discussed his own economic policies. And weird, when President Trump discusses economic policies, he is oddly enough discussing economics and policies. Harris has avoided difficult interviews over the past few months as she struggles to defend her policies. Understatement of the century. Let's take a look.
The first is, just for the record and for those people watching on television, the Economic Club of Chicago and Bloomberg both invited Vice President Harris to a similar interview about her economic plans that she has declined so far. Why should they trust you with that?
Because we're about growth. She's got no growth.
I don't know if the cameraman had some kind of nervous system disorder, but very safe and effective this whole time, if you know what I mean.
So far. Why should they trust you with that?
Because we're about growth. She's got no growth whatsoever, and we're all about growth. We're going to bring companies back to our country. You look at even today, as I was driving over, I see these empty, old, beautiful, like steel mills and factories that are empty and falling down. Some have been converted to senior citizens' homes, but that's not going to do the trick. And we're going to bring the companies back. We're going to lower taxes still further for companies that are going to make their product in the USA.
So far, I approve.
To protect those companies with strong tariffs, because I'm a believer in tariffs. I'm not sure that you are. I don't think you are, but I congratulate you on your career. But
I love that. He's just owning, I'm a big believer in tariffs, and Trump knows the guy that's interviewing him, and he just acknowledges it. He's like, I know you're not. I am. And I like that. He's owning his beliefs. He's not apologizing for him. He's not trying to wiggle worm his way around because he's afraid of pushback. You're against tariffs. I'm for tariffs. So let me play this vanilla game of like, well, you know, tariffs, there's upside, downside, where he says a bunch of words without saying anything. That's not Trump's style. That's part of why people love him. He says it like it is. We'll get back to the video in just a second, but first, natural disasters are a reality, my friends. From Maui wildfires to Hurricane Helene, we're seeing natural disasters take out entire towns within 24 hours, with minimal warning, resulting in a lack of basic resources. And I get it, we're wired to think the dangerous thought, that could never happen here. Then we blink and all of a sudden we're in survival mode. Being prepared in advance is your best defense against the unexpected. And we've also learned We unfortunately can't rely on our government. And what you can do is know that the wellness company's emergency kits completely remove the gatekeepers and provide you with a mini pharmacy, all from the comfort of your own home. Bacterial infections, staph, bite wounds, UTIs, strep throat, and respiratory illnesses. You no longer have to be at the mercy of someone else to help you and your family. You probably keep a fire extinguisher on hand in case of a fire, don't you? Well, it's probably a good idea to have some basic medicines on hand in case you need them. Same concept, different product. Getting an emergency kit is fully digital, all from the convenience of your couch. You fill out an intake form, a pharmacist reviews it and approves it, and you get your kit within 2 weeks. And the medical board approved guidebook crafted by Dr. Peter McCullough guides you on exactly what to do. Get your wellness company emergency kits by going to twc.health/JPReacts and use code JPReacts to save up to $60 off plus free shipping. USA residents only, pays to be American, and that's twc.health/JPReacts. Get yours today. Now, back to the video.
To me, the most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff. And it's my favorite word. It needs a public relations firm to help it, but to me it's the most beautiful word.
And the interviewer, of course, thought highly enough about himself. He had to say something about tariffs in an English accent. Now, let's pick up where we left off with the opening clip and see how the gentleman responds to President Trump.
What does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything.
So far, 0 to 10, I love this level 12. He's acknowledging, I'm meeting with the Wall Street Journal tomorrow, and they're wrong about everything. And, like, they're a mainstream media outlet. And President Trump just wrote the book on not kowtowing to the news. If he sees them as fake, fraudulent, lying, wrong, he calls it like it is, and he's doing that with the Wall Street Journal.
So have you, by the way.
Now, that's worth listening to again. Wall Street Journal's been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. Boss move.
The Wall Street Journal, they've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong about
You're trying to turn this. You're trying to turn this.
You've been wrong about
No, you're trying to turn this into debate. There are business people. There are business
you're wrong.
people.
You've been wrong all your life on this stuff.
You don't have to agree with him, but you have to admit that's strength. You'll probably agree with him. Now, a little bit of substance on economic policy. We get into this in this clip. One of the ways, apparently, that you decrease inflation, the rate that your money is devalued, is you cut government spending. So Trump gives a look into how absurd government spending is and some of what he did about it while he was in office. Now, the interesting thing about this economic plan and perspective is there's substance to it. There's a plan to take action on. It's not word salad that runs around, winds around in a circle. You're ending up at a point worse off than where you began. Shout out Kamala.
Every president comes in and talks about cutting wasteful spending.
Oh, there's tremendous waste.
Give me an example of something you will do that will get rid of government spending.
Well, let me give you an example. When I came into government, I was the first thing.
An example going forward.
Well,
not
no, but
what you did in the past.
this is going forward because it's the same thing. When I first sat down, a general came into my office and he said, "Sir, it's nice to meet you. Would you please sign this?" I said, "What is it?" "It's a contract for a new Air Force One, which is actually 2 planes, not one, 2 Boeing 747. And I said, "How much is it?" $5.7 billion. I said,
$5.7 billion for 2 planes. Oh, what is that? That's $2.7 billion per plane. Seems a little excessive. Trump thought so too.
hell of an expensive plane, but there's reasons for that. He said, "Nope, I'm not signing it." I said, "Who negotiated it?" "Barack Hussein Obama." I said, "I'm not signing it." "Why?" Because there's a lot of fat. He said, "I'm not signing it. It's got to have a 3 on it." Anyway, long story short, some of you have heard this. I got it down to, because first week they cut off $400 million. He said, "I'll cut." I met with the head of Boeing. "Wait, Dennis."
I love how he's controlling the interviewer that's trying to control him. Boss move. "Wait, Dennis."
I said, "Dennis, you got to have a 3. 5.7 is too much. 5.7 billion. He said, "The most I'll take off is $400 million. I said, "Well, that's not bad for one conversation." So he got it down. I said, nope, I'm not accepting. Then he took off 2 more. Then he took off. Anyway, 2 months went by, 3 months went by. I thought we blew the deal, and it was okay with me. I didn't care. But we should have a new Air Force One. When we see these planes from Saudi Arabia, from different countries, brand new, and ours is like 32 years old, and it's a very different plane. It's a much smaller plane, you know, the whole thing. The United States should have the best plane, I will tell you. Not for me, but we should have it. Let me just finish.
In the interviews, nope, let me, interviewer.
So he said, he calls up after like 2-3 months. I didn't call him, which is the best way to buy something. Don't call back. And he goes,
we're getting negotiating tactics here. By the way, because this is a president who runs businesses, there is no business that's more complex and harder to run than the United States government and economy. Now, normally we don't have business people in office, and we suffer accordingly. By having someone who knows how to run a business, like running a business, if you're paying 10 times more for things than you should, that is a really crappy way to run a business. So here he's just talking about negotiating pricing down.
in fact, when he called me, I said, I wonder what the hell he wants. That's a good way to negotiate, let me tell you. So he calls back, said, sir, $3,999,999,99 1 penny below $4 billion. So I said, you got yourself a deal. Then I said to him, let me ask you a question. So you had a deal at $5.7 billion, and in a period of 2 months, I got $1.7 billion off. That means you were going to make $1.7 billion profit on an airplane. Did nobody ever negotiate with you? Well, not really, sir. They just, this is the price, and they said, we'll take it. And I said, you know, and then I learned, that was my first experience, you know, from that. But then I learned everything is like that. There is so much waste. So I'm getting, think of this, the exact same plane for $1.7 billion less, except I have a better paint job, okay, much better paint job. A different color, red, white, and blue is beautiful. And if you look at every contract, that's one contract.
That's just one contract. That's very interesting in practice example, not necessarily of what Trump would do, but what he has done because he's been in office, which gives you a preview of what he's capable of doing getting back in office. Here I am like trying to act like I'm trying to convince you to vote for Trump. You make up your own mind. I'm just saying this guy, he's got experience and he's handling this interview like a boss. Now, here's something else that was posted on Twitter about this very interview. The vast majority of the crowd was against Trump going into this interview. He sparred for over an hour with an unfriendly journalist and won many of them over. Even those who disagree respect that he showed up while Kamala bailed. This is a leader. And here you can see the standing ovation that President Trump got. From a crowd that wasn't necessarily on his side before the interview began. Now, if you listen to someone speak with substance, the cool thing about that is if they have substance, you can win people over. They can win you over. But if you listen to someone talk and they have no substance, there's a good chance they're not going to be winning anybody over. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been President Trump acting like a boss. Let me know what you think about Trump's interview here with Bloomberg in Chicago in the comments below, and I'll look forward to seeing you on our next video. But until then, stay free.